Oracles of Olympus. Welcome to Oracles of Olympus, the podcast of all things in miniature wargaming, role-playing, board games, and general nerd culture, all with a taste of cynicism, sarcasm, and nerdy banter. Please join Kyle, Ryan, CJ, and GM Drew as we break down all the stuff.
I knew I had to say something to get everyone laughing.
Hi, everybody. We are episode 20 today.
Next episode, we'll be able to drink.
Maybe
Ooh.
we should celebrate it by actually drinking.
Yeah, we'll have that the drinking
Oh,
episode.
God.
That'll
The
be
drinking
good.
episode?
We'll
That'll
start
be
drinking and then start recording an hour later.
Oh, no.
That could only
Oh,
lose us
no.
our entire following as we literally insult everyone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or it'd be the greatest thing ever. I don't know. It'd make or break us.
yeah.
Probably
Let's have a
break
poll.
us.
What do you guys think?
A poll?
Yeah.
Vote on your phones now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Tweet.
They voted so hard.
Text yes to 8787 now if you want us to be totally schnocker. Text yes to 8788 if you don't want us to be totally ripshit riot drunk. And text let's get drunk to 8787.
I like it.
There you go.
Back to the first one.
Basically, though, you three would have to start drinking an hour before.
Dude,
I
it
can
would
show
take
up,
me a while.
I
No,
can
no.
show up like 10 minutes before and pop a glass of wine and I'll be fucking
Me,
lit.
not anymore. Trust
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Are you a lightweight
Not
now?
anymore. Well, because I hadn't had any carbs at all, and like my metabolism's like super on fire right
Oh.
now. So like at Ace's dinner, I had 2 drinks, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Whee!
I had to like I got in the car, and I was like, "Nope." I was like, "You got to drive."
I could get there quickly if I butt chug something.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're ever like, boy, I need to be drunk in the next 5 minutes, a good old fashioned butt chug will get you there. I promise you that.
man.
You
So
will be
we-
drunk.
Tell you what, I'll sit at ground zero. I'll take the plunge
Like,
for your butt chug. Like I'll hold the
Yeah.
tube in place.
Oh.
you don't have to butt chug. I was just gonna like get an old tampon and soak her down in some vodka and put it up in there.
Yeah, but that's messy because you're like mushing it.
That's half of the fun, in my opinion.
Oh, okay.
I'll go get you some of those little fingerling things for suppositories where it's like a glove, but it only covers the index finger. Have you seen those?
Ooh, no, but
It's a
I'm
real thing.
extremely excited about
I grew
them.
up in a medical family. It's nothing for
Okay. All right.
It's not my
So
fault.
we got a lot to talk about. So let's
We gotta
jump.
introduce people.
Let's jump into
Yeah,
introducing
what if
people.
somebody doesn't know who we
No,
are?
What if
you
it's
are.
someone's first time on this shenanigan road?
If it's your
Oh.
first time, I'm sorry, we're not going to be gentle.
Yeah.
There's only one mode, and it's
This is
just
your first-
it's hard.
If this is
Okay.
your first podcast with us, you're doing it wrong. This is episode 20.
Yeah, go back and listen to the other ones. God.
So I like to start at the beginning.
But with us
Not.
always is...
CJ.
I'm going to change my name now on the podcast to Grand Moff CJ.
Grand Moff CJ.
Yeah, it's got a nice ring to it.
Everyone's
There
gonna
are
have
no
cool
muff
nicknames.
jokes with that.
What's that?
There are no muff jokes.
I like muff jokes.
What's gonna be your nickname, Ryan? It's gonna be, let's do Chet. You want to be Chet?
Chet?
I don't know. I got
What-
nothing.
That's the
What am I,
whitest
like-
white name
Hold on,
there
like,
is.
what do I
Chet.
have? Frosted
Is Chet-
tips and a visor?
Is Chet the whitest? No, I didn't say like Chad. Or
That's
Brad.
Chad or Brad.
Like
Tanner?
Tanner or like.
That's my son's name.
I mean, no, your son's a white kid.
He is.
Or like Braden or Aiden. Or
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the
Aidens.
Aidens.
yeah, Jaden.
Jaden.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't feel like Chet's the whitest one.
There's a Jaden that pisses me off. Who is it?
Jaden Smith.
Oh, Jaden Smith. Yeah, he pisses
Do
me
you notice
off.
how I knew that? Like, I just like I could see.
I said I'm
I
pissed off
could
with a
see,
Jaden name.
like the look on your face, and I was like, "Yeah, it's Jaden." If you've ever seen any movie with Jaden Smith in it,
I
like,
love
you'll
Will
know
Smith.
why.
I love
Will Smith too.
Smith.
Unfortunately, his talent was not genetically transferred to his son.
No, and they've
His son's
managed to
just
raise
weird.
a psycho.
Yeah, I feel like it's the stereotypical kind of Hollywood kid sort
Yeah,
of
he
thing,
is.
right? Like, just weird.
Like,
Anyway.
when you see an entire article that I saw on BBC that was like, what did Suri Cruise do for her vacation? And it's basically an entire article about what this 11-year-old girl did and how many thousands of dollars they spent on trips.
Tom Cruise's kid is 11?
Yeah.
Weird.
Feel old now?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Because I remember when he kidnapped Katie Holmes and had a child with her. He was like, the church let me do this. I'm a super ET-12 clear Scientologist. I can kidnap anyone I want.
It's like here's a story with her mother attending the Canterbury Cathedral. Notice they're matching dresses from this designer that only cost $2,000 each. I'm like,
and they wore it for an afternoon and then burned it.
Yeah, right. Like, never wear them again.
Because that child understands real life. Anyway, that's my.
That's your introduction.
That's my.
That's
introduction.
CJ's intro.
Grand Moff CJ, Big Swole. You already have a nickname.
You're Big Swole.
Yeah. Okay.
Big, how are you? How are you, sir?
I'm very well. I'm tired right now. Like
he was lifting heavy things today.
Twice. No, it was 2 workouts.
Like chickens into his face.
Okay,
It was turkey.
No, it was 3/4 of a pound of turkey. A half
Jesus
pound. Hold on,
Christ.
it was a half pound of jalapeno cheddar sausage. And a half pound of brisket.
It was impressive. I watched.
I ate the whole thing. I didn't eat this.
Wow.
I couldn't eat the sides or the bread because it was too many carbs, but it was yummy.
Speechless.
Anytime I'm hungry, there are no survivors.
Don't get trapped in a room with him in a safe. You're done for.
Right.
As long as you keep your hands and feet away from your mouth, my mouth, you're safe.
I always keep my hands and feet away from my mouth, too.
Yeah.
Just as a side note.
How are you, Kyle?
Hi, everybody. I'm Kyle, and I love you.
Yeah.
That's my intro.
And I'm GM
Nailed
Drew.
it.
Yep.
We got a lot to talk about. We're going to dive right into Star Wars. Let's talk about Legion first.
Put that to the Grand Moff.
With that, talk to the Grand Moff. So, yeah, Star Wars. They had some exciting new announcements today. By the way, it's July 10th, so if anyone's wondering when this is recorded, it's Wyoming Statehood Day. This is the day we became a state. So you're all welcome, everybody who didn't know.
So anyway, Star
There's
Wars.
your factoid for the day.
Come on, Drew. That was pretty exciting that I knew that.
CJ's back toward
Yeah.
corner.
That was pretty damn exciting.
Yeah.
I still know all kinds of things.
I didn't know if you knew this, but when it comes to history, I'm kind of a big deal.
I know.
So
we're just talking about
We
that.
were talking
Were
about
you?
that.
Yeah.
Really?
We were like, I was like, I like history, but CJ loves history.
I do.
Like that's.
I could do an entire podcast where I just talk about like an entire block in downtown Cheyenne and what happened there, but I don't know if there'd be any listeners. But Star Wars.
Star Wars.
So they announced 2 new releases today for Star Wars Legion. Drum roll, please, because it's Emperor Palpatine.
I didn't even get time to drum roll. Damn.
Sorry, I
was
jumped the gun.
reaching
I was that
up.
excited.
So
I was
what's the
that
other
excited.
release? We got Emperor Palpatine. What else?
And the Royal Guard.
That one I actually think is pretty cool.
It's
Emperor,
fantastic.
I'm more interested in the non-Force users right now,
Yeah.
but I do like the. I mean, it's
Well,
hard not to like the guard. Right?
So I've already read their previews. The way Fantasy Flight works is they give you a limited preview, and then later on, when they're getting close to the release, they do a more in-depth preview. So what we know for Emperor Palpatine is he does have some cool cards. One of his command cards is called an entire legion of my best troops, which was kind of a misnomer when they lost to tiny teddy bears.
Space teddy bears.
Whatever. Moving on. The card basically lets you give an order to everybody in range. Just everybody
That's pretty
gets an
sweet.
order. Yeah.
damn.
Also, Emperor Palpatine, the only other thing they really kind of revealed on him is his Force Lightning essentially has the firepower of a fucking ATST.
Really?
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
it's
that
only
kinda
range
makes sense,
2,
though,
but
right?
he just walks up just like getting dead. Like,
I mean, but that makes sense. That feels appropriate. So, okay, this is I saw that on Bell of Lost Souls this morning, right? I saw that preview. And I was like, oh, cool. And then immediately the thing that pops in my mind is, what is the Rebel counterpart to that, right? Like, because for the most part, they've kind of done like one-to-one releases, right? Like, we get Veers for the, Empire, the Rebels get Leia, right? You get, I mean, I guess Fleet Troopers doesn't really quite measure up to Snow Troopers, but, it's sort of there, right?
so
You get Scouts and Commandos are coming out. You get Fett and Solo, and like those all feel really balanced. How do you balance out like Palpatine?
I kind of have a thought on that,
I'm
and it is there's a depends, right? Because everything they've done so far comes from the 3 original movies. It's coming.
Right.
Nothing that's come out was
I have an
not
idea.
in the movie.
I have an idea.
Yeah, and I'm guessing maybe we're similar, but if they actually start doing stuff from the expanded canon a little bit, like if they move into Rebels or things like that, then you could add a Jedi like Kanan Jarrus. You could add Ahsoka Tano.
Okay.
You could add other Force
That's not what I'm
users.
thinking they're going to add.
What are you thinking?
I mean, to me, I thought about this all afternoon. It almost bit me in the ass. It's obvious. Yoda,
Yeah.
right?
I
like
mean,
it's
exactly.
totally Yoda,
Say,
right?
I said
That-
Yoda
Because
twice.
That would
if
be
you,
fantastic.
If you look at the films, at least, they're like the only times
We
he
have
ever
Yoda.
really duels anybody. Like, yeah, he fights Windu, but it's not really like a duel. It's more like Windu and some like other not really important Jedi masters,
Just
some
get cut
fodder,
down.
if you will, get cut down.
Like these two people came to get cut down in the first
Right.
strikes.
But like, I'm thinking like, because basically everything we're doing right now is all original trilogy, right?
Yep.
So if you go original trilogy, because so far I feel like they've done a pretty reasonable job of matching up unit for unit, power for power. The only one who could really compete ostensibly with the Emperor, right, would be Yoda. Because Luke, at the time, Luke is still not able to do it, right? Because he
Correct.
needs Vader's help essentially to do it.
Yes.
So the only one who
Yeah.
could possibly be as good be Yoda, which I actually think would be kind of cool.
That would be
It would
fantastic.
be an interesting
would be
because
super
at first my first thoughts were like Akbar, and I was like,
It's like,
there's-
what the fuck is Akbar going to do against...
Also, like in the Clone Wars, he does some more stuff that isn't just in ships, right?
Yes.
But when I think of Akbar in the frame of the original trilogy, he's always going to be like a fleet commander to me.
Mhm.
I don't really feel like Akbar is the kind of guy who wastes his time. I mean, it's like that'd be like Stormin Norman Schwarzkopf takes control of a platoon of dudes and is like, "We're gonna go win." Like,
We're going to go win here. We got this.
Didn't really seem necessary, right? Like, just a presence that I don't feel like you'd see on the battlefield.
No,
necessarily.
I would agree with you there.
But I have not figured out what do you get on the rebel side that matches up to the guard.
I hope it's Yoda.
What,
There's
for
just
sure, but like,
so
what's the
cool.
unit that matches up against the guard?
Oh,
Because
the Royal-
ostensibly, right? And that's my favorite word. It's
Oh,
got to
no.
be. It's got to be like a melee heavy unit, right? Because the guard don't really do shooting.
You're
So are
talking
we
about
seeing
the
The
Royal
Knights
Guard.
of Ren.
Yeah, the Royal Guard. That's what I'm talking
The
about.
Royal Guard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who are we matching up against rebels? Is it? What's the only other melee thing on the rebel side? Is it Ewoks?
Wookiees or Ewoks.
It's Ewoks.
You know that they would do that too, right?
I feel like they
'Cause
would totally do
sell
like,
the shit
Here's
out
a
of that.
unit of teddy bears. Like, go get 'em.
Fuck that.
If you think for one
It'll be
fucking
Wookiees.
second that there are not Ewoks in production on some level of this game, you're wrong.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
They are coming.
They're gonna make them.
I think Wookiees come first, though.
Maybe.
Wookiees might come first. So
I want
But if you
Wookiees.
think about it, there's not
Real
really any
bad.
Wookiees other than Chewie in the original series.
well, and the other thing I was thinking about, right, is that now that we have Han, Luke, and Leia, there's no obvious next characters. Anything at this point is kind of guesswork because
no,
everyone
there's
after
Lando.
that.
You're getting Lando.
Okay, I suppose.
You're
but
totally getting Lando.
that's a fair point.
Yeah.
After Lando, what is it though?
3PO and R2. I mean, you could probably mirror, honestly.
Imperial
you could probably
Assault.
mirror Imperial Assault, right?
You
Because they're
probably
kind of already
could. And
doing that to
Chewbacca.
some extent, right? Chewie's definitely going to be a character.
He has to.
Lando will definitely be a character. Where you're going to run out of characters who
It's
we
more
actually
the
know
Empire
is more
side.
the Empire side.
Yeah.
Because the story is basically told from the Rebel perspective,
It is.
right? That's why those
I feel
filthy
like
terrorists
obvious
seem like they're
ones-
good guys.
Yeah, I feel like the obvious ones for Empire next. I still think Director Krennic. I also
Thrawn.
think
Thrawn will be one of the next
He'll be a
ones, I
big
bet.
one.
Krennic, I could
also
see Krennic. I could totally see
Tarkin because he's just such a.
I think Tarkin,
because he is
yes.
in the movies.
Yeah, because
Maul.
he's certainly.
Darth Maul will be in there.
I think Darth Maul will
Darth
at some
Maul.
point, but I think that you'll see Maul when you see some of the other stuff, and then the real question is like when we see Maul, is that when we see Obi-Wan, and when we get Obi-Wan, is he young Obi-Wan or is he like Allen Guinness Obi-Wan, right?
Hmm.
Because so far every time you get him, he's always Allen Guinness
Alec.
or Alec Guinness.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And so
Not to correct you, but we will
Yeah,
get
no, I
corrected.
know.
after-
I'm sure if Danny hears that, he'll never let me live it down. But no,
he'll kick him the door of the
yeah,
shop.
no, we all make mistakes. It's Alec Guinness.
and
I know.
moving back to the Royal Guard a little bit though, I did read their preview. So they do have the charge ability, so they move 2 speeds.
Which
They
seems
can
good.
move,
Yeah.
and they're in base, still fight. They have 2 black die. They have a black and a red dice each in close combat.
Seems pretty good.
So it's not terrible. They have they basically can bring an electro stave, which are those staves you see. Do you remember the robots that fought, in Revenge of the Sith? They fought Anakin and Obi-Wan on the bridge of the ship to
Right.
save.
General
Yeah, those
Grievous'
staves,
bodyguard.
yeah, those guys.
They're like commando droids or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're pretty sweet. If you bring Emperor Palpatine, he gets to bring a squad of Royal Guards with him that don't count against your Force Org.
Oh, that's
Of
cool.
course.
Because they're always going to be accompanying him. They have Guardian 2, so they can absorb 2 hits for any commander that are nearby. So Veers, Vader, anybody.
It's pretty good.
They're also 2 wounds each. They're the first 2
Oh, wow.
infantry we've seen are the
So
Royal
they're
Guards.
they're fairly robust.
Yeah. And they have
How many to a unit are they?
there's 3 to a unit, and then you can add the special weapon.
Okay, so that's
They're
kind of
small.
maybe why they're two
Yeah.
wounds to a guy because they're kind of making up for
They're
being
kind of
essentially
small.
a half-size Yoda.
And I like the fact that they're somewhat action posed, where in the movies you always just see them kind of standing there.
Yeah,
by
that would have
those.
been really boring if
It
they were
would have been.
static.
These guys are actually attacking. One's drawing a blaster. Like it looks good.
Yeah.
And if anybody has ever, if you've read it, great. If not, check out the book called Lords of the Sith. It is part of the official canon now. It's by Paul Kemp. They've got it on Audible, or you can get it the actual physical book. But it's actually a really good story. It's part of the new canon. It's about Vader and Palpatine travel to Ryloth to deal with an issue there. Basically, they manipulate and lure Palpatine there. And this Ryloth, the Free Ryloth movement, which is like a precursor to the rebellion.
It's also
a
where Cthulhu
huge-
lives, I believe.
Yeah,
it's what's that?
I said it's also where Cthulhu lives, I believe.
Also
Ryloth?
Cthulhu, Ryloth. From Star Wars Rebels, Hera Syndulla, her father's the leader of the Free Ryloth
Gotcha.
movement. And you see him actually in Clone Wars. He's the one that they work with Anakin when they're on trying to free Ryloth from the droids. Anyway, before I go too in depth into the story, which I can do, basically they expend an entire cell, years of preparation, thousands of people to try and assassinate Palpatine and Vader. They shoot down the shuttle. And you essentially have a story of Vader, Palpatine, and some royal guards trying to escape being hunted by hundreds of these Ryloth Twi'leks.
I feel like there's never really a time when Vader and Palpatine and then X number of whatever else are ever like truly in danger from hundreds of people with blasters.
They're not.
I mean,
and
that's kind of like one of those times where like I read last year I read Death Troopers, which was like a Han Solo story where he's on like a really like crazy science Star Destroyer, and they've like got zombies and shit. And it's a fun book. It's cool, right? But like it's Han Solo, so he doesn't die on that ship. I know that.
Yep.
I know where he dies.
His fate goes. Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those times where I'm like, the tension here is
Good old plot armor.
Yeah, I always like when they include a few extra characters who aren't in the movies, so that I can be worried about at least them.
Well, in the it's so the book was good, but where I was going with that is that it really gets into the Royal Guards, that these are like the Navy SEALs of the Empire. They are
Except without all the stealth.
they're very obvious, but they're extremely good soldiers.
Sure.
They're like they're like Nazis in the fact that like SS, they're indoctrinated into the Emperor like that. I mean, the Emperor could just be like, let me use your body as a shield, and they'll do it. Like, they're completely loyal to Palpatine. But the interesting thing in the story is that they don't know that Palpatine is a powerful Sith. He keeps hidden from them that he's a powerful Sith. And there's this one moment where they're being overwhelmed, and Vader's like, fighting off 50 people at a time, and his, one of the royal guards is killed, and the other royal guards are like, stay in cover, sire. We got this, but we're losing, but we got this. And the Emperor comes out. He's like, you'll forget everything you see here. And he draws his lightsaber and just proceeds to literally murder and rape to death everything there. And at some point, the royal guards stop firing their blaster, and they're just kind of staring at the Emperor like, what the hell? Like, I kind of feel like I don't need this job anymore. Like, why am I here? Because they don't know. They don't know his background.
That's fair.
He keeps it hidden from them.
He basically keeps it hidden from everybody.
From everybody but Vader.
Yeah. Well,
Like
I feel
Vader
like he
and
probably
Tarkin.
would have kept it hidden from Vader if he could have.
If he could have. Vader knows. Tarkin knows because he's one of the few people that knew him through the whole process. When you get into the book Tarkin.
Right.
But that's pretty much it. Like, there's Masameda, his counselor. There's like 4 or 5 people that know he's a Force user.
The blue guy?
Yeah. And you actually the blue guy with the head horns that stands next to him.
I know him
Masameda.
as the guy who stands next to him in the same
And he plays a bigger role in Aftermath.
Sure.
Thank you, by the way. I didn't know.
You didn't know.
I got you.
I was
Okay.
like,
You're like, who the fuck?
I was like,
Masameda.
I have never heard of that character, and I've heard a lot of characters.
I'd be willing to bet most Star Wars fans have never heard of that character, even though you've all seen him.
Yeah, you just never know his name.
They don't say his name in the movie, so unless you go looking for it.
He appears, you learn from Rebels, he actually, Palpatine, he appears to people not inside the palace as the elderly, nice, like grandfatherly figure that was Senator Palpatine from the original movies. He doesn't look all scarred. He's not in black. He's kind of in these nice clothes. He looks all fine and normal like he used to. And he appears in these very detailed holograms to even Imperial officers and admirals and stuff who don't know him, that haven't met him in person. So they just think here's this, emperor who's this like anybody's grandfather, not this guy whose face looks like it got melted and turned into bologna. Like,
It looks like a candle that was sitting in the windowsill for too long.
like you left it sitting in your dash too long.
No. Oh.
So people don't know what he really looks like, and they have no idea he's a Force user.
So in other Star Wars news,
Yes.
the filming for Episode 9 is about to start,
Okay.
and they
Sorry.
announced Lando will be in Episode 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Right? Like they're like,
Are they
we
bringing-
gotta dig up some more old people
like
to kill.
To kill.
Yeah, right? Like,
So
what else
please
is
tell me they're gonna make him like die some random death.
Next
that'll
we
just
killed
be-
Chewie and Lando.
Exactly.
God damn it. Take that, my childhood. Get fucked. God damn it.
But it's like super ancient.
How are they going to wrap up?
How do you wrap it up in one movie?
How do you, right? Because, like, the last movie didn't do fucking anything for the plot.
This is
Literally
gonna have to-
nothing.
This is gonna have to be like a 4-hour movie where we have like a
It's gonna be-
smoke break, an
right?
intermission.
Do you know who
like-
moves intermissions? Boy, I miss intermissions. Why did theaters get
The
away
last-
from that shit,
The
man?
last movie with an actual intermission was Hateful Eight.
It does have one.
does
yeah,
have one.
That's
Yeah.
true.
The last one I remember actually being like a true intermission. My dad took me when I was a kid to see the movie Gettysburg, which is like
Yeah,
fucking 4
That's
hours.
that's the last
And-
one I remember. Was
yeah.
it?
There
No,
was
you know
a-
what? Titanic had one.
Titanic had one. There was a 15-minute intermission in Gettysburg, and literally my dad took me out, and he was smoking a cigarette, and I'm standing around, and there's like other like old dudes seeing Gettysburg, like talking about the battle and what they're thinking, and then literally like a guy in a theater costume comes out like flashing a flashlight. He's like, "The movie's about to begin again," and everyone puts out their cigarettes and goes back in. I'm like, well, why did we get away from that? That was
There's
wish
a
we
lot
just
of
had
niceties.
cocktails. Yeah.
There's a lot of niceties in society we've gotten away from.
Yes.
It's kind of member berries, I know, but
It is.
still.
Like, please and thank you.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what's really...
Sorry,
that
just
sends
wanted
me
to
off
throw
on
that
like
one
a side tangent really quick. But one of the things that was really appealing to me when we first moved to Wyoming, it was very different culturally, from coming from the Midwest. Was like everybody says hi, right?
Yeah.
Like everything, you'd be like walking down the street, people like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And you'd
Yeah.
say hi back because it took us a while. Seriously, it took us a
Yeah.
while to get used to that because you never talk to anybody on the street where I'm from.
Yeah.
So it was weird, and I've noticed over the past. So I've lived in Wyoming for 21 years,
hmm
and I've noticed over the past 20 years, nobody fucking says hi anymore.
It's kind of decaying a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a Wyoming thing. I think that's a societal thing.
I think it's a
So-
societal thing. I also think it's a
Or
Cheyenne
Wyoming's just
thing,
catching
'cause
up
I
to everybody
think
else. I don't know.
it's still more prevalent in the small towns.
I mean,
It might be, yeah.
I've only been here almost a year, but that was the first thing that I noticed. Like, I lived in Denver. I've been in tons of states, and then I lived in Hawaii for a while. Nobody talks to you, and then I moved here, and like, first couple days, like, I'm going grab some food, and someone's like, "Hey, how are you?" And I was like, "Hi," like, hello, random stranger on the street.
Fine, what do you want?
I was like, "No, I don't have any money."
Right. But I mean, culturally, it was kind of a cool thing. But I've noticed, like saying nobody says please or
Yeah.
thank you anymore. I agree, nobody does, right?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's weird. Like nobody says hi anymore. Like I
That
see it
is
all
a-
the time. Like at the store, like somebody will come in. I'll be like, "Hey, how's it going?"
They just
They'll
walk
just
right
walk
by
right
you.
past me. Yeah. Or like when they're leaving, I'll be like, "Hey, have a great night." They just
But
walk
it's
past.
funny. My ex-wife was from New Jersey, and she mentioned that too when she came here. It was like she was shocked how people just like wave on
Yeah.
roads, and you have no idea who they are. And she's like, "That's weird." No, like that's just normal to me.
It's super not normal from out of state for sure.
Yeah.
It took a while. Like
like if I'm
we
in a
used to all
country-
carry mace when we moved here because we just always had mace.
Yeah.
Like
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
If I'm on a country, I don't expect it in town. If I'm on a country road and I wave and someone doesn't wave back, I'm like, "Fucker." Like,
What are you doing out here, boy?
fuck you and the Colorado rental car you drove in on.
So, new in GW land.
There's a
This-
lot. There's
Yeah?
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll hit just like the high points really quick. This week, this Saturday, we get a couple odds and ends. So if you're one of the 3 Blood Bowl players in town, hi Danny, then you'll be excited to know that the Nagaroth Nightmares are coming out. That's the Dark Elf football team for Blood Bowl comes out this week, which is kind of cool. We get a new field, a new pitch for Blood Bowl this week. The other cool stuff we get this week is we get new boards for Shadespire, which is really big.
Yep.
They have hazards on them, which are really cool. We also get the Shadespire leader cards, it's basically a pack of cards with some upgrades for all of the leaders across all of the warbands in Shadespire, which that seems pretty cool to me too.
Although this week kind of felt like a filler week. They were like,
it's sort of a
we
4
need to
week.
take a pause between some big releases. Let's
I think that's kind of
plug
they,
in some
they do that kind of
Shakespeare
stuff
and,
for sure,
and Blood
right?
Bowl.
Like we know that there's still
Because this is not a high sales weekend.
It's
not.
probably not a big one now. We know there's still some more Nighthaunt stuff coming because we
Yeah.
still don't have whatever the guy on the horse is, and we still don't have the king.
The flying horse.
Yeah,
We also
there's a
don't
bunch
have
of storm
box
casts.
chain rasps.
We don't
Can
have
I-
the chain rasp box now.
Can I take us down a minor
Yeah, of
rabbit
course.
trail here? Did anyone notice, and someone else had to point this out to me, that Canis Rex, the special character knight, never developed. He just disappeared
Which guy?
for the Imperial Knight release. The new knight with the special character.
Yeah, no, he's definitely going to be part of. Okay, I haven't thought about that.
Okay, what do you think is going to happen?
He's in a triumvirate box,
Okay.
or he's in a campaign box.
Okay, because I figured, because I'm like, what the fuck happened to this dude? Like, he
Yeah.
was in all the
Triumvirate
pictures.
box, like
and,
with Russ.
I don't think it'd be with Russ, and the reason I don't think it'd be with Russ is because they do one bigger model and then two smaller models.
Okay.
So if he's in there, he's.
It'll be
on
I
two
thought you were
smaller
talking
models,
just the
No, it'll
little-
be the knight because he's got a weapon that you can only get and a helmet you can only get in that box.
Oh, okay.
and the interior detail kit. Like, they
Yeah,
showed
the
the
interior
hatch
detail.
open.
Yeah, so it's essentially a regular knight kit with a whole extra frame that has a bunch of extra stuff.
Right. Sorry, I was picturing the.
No,
No,
for sure.
So
for
that
sure.
was my minor tangent. Is I'm like, he sure vanished.
Yeah, no, and there's other stuff too
And
that
he was
we know is
prominent
coming.
pictures in the book.
Yes, and he was all over the website. He's coming.
Yeah.
I would be literally shocked if there's not a big 40K event starting in, let's say, September.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Something
say
like that.
September.
Dude, you don't understand how bad I want my wolves. Like I'm.
So they're
salivating
coming out. They
for
said
them.
they said they would be out by the end of summer, which is in September.
As a wolf player, you kind of got shafted in 40K.
Hard.
They're like, here, you'll have your stuff in a little over a year and a half.
You know, but I always say the longer you wait for a book, the better it is. Because you know
If
who
you
the
don't believe
first
me,
book...
ask Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah, you know who the first book of Warhammer 40K 7th edition was? Orcs.
Yeah.
You know who the worst book of Warhammer 40K 7th edition was? Fucking Orcs.
You know who's now the
Terrible.
worst book, I think, arguably, of 8th edition is Chaos.
Yeah, I don't know. There's still a lot of stuff I think that's good in Chaos. Because I feel like I could put a stock Chaos book up against just a stock Space Marines book. And I feel like the Chaos
Here's
book
the
can
thing.
still win.
I think in the new edition, Space Marines and it's power armored guys in general are struggling a little bit. And I think there's a big shift that led
that's
to
fair.
that. Is that it used to be if you didn't have an AP3 weapon, they always got a 3-up save.
Right.
It used to be like, oh, I got to deal with Marines, and Marines were like, uh-oh, it's a plasma squad, stay clear of that.
Right.
And now, though, when you had basic weaponry dropping them to a 4 save or a 5 save, all of a sudden having that 3-up save isn't as big a deal. And so I think that the durability of the Marines, it's just not there anymore. It's gone. In many ways, I'd almost have more bodies over the better armor.
Yeah, see, for me, I've never been a big Marine player.
Oh, I
Like,
was.
did-
That's all I
did
played
Chaos
for a couple of years.
here and there, right?
Yeah.
But, like, I've almost always been more of, like, the 4-up armor kind of guy.
Yeah.
So I'm just used to never having an armor save anyway, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really phase me not having
So
one
to
now.
me, like, I played Marines a lot for about 2 years, and in various forms, more on Chaos side, but a little bit in Imperials too. And it's immensely disappointing when you're like, especially with basic tac Marines with 1 wound, you're like, I got a 5-man combat squad, and they're like, boop, I hit you with an auto cannon, you got 5-up saves like a guardsman, and the whole squad's dead.
See, I feel like autocannon should tear up squads of tac Marines.
Maybe that's a bad example. I always thought auto cannons were a bit underpowered.
I think a lot of the heavy weapons were way underpowered.
Yeah.
Like, last cannon killing 1 Space Marine still feels kind of mad to me.
But power armor's not special anymore. It's
I don't know.
I
not,
like it.
not for the points you pay for it.
Maybe it feels less powerful, but I think it's still good.
I like it because you have
Still
to
a better
like,
save than anybody else.
right, and you have to
Yeah,
play
but-
tactically with your Marines who used to be like, I don't care about cover, like just running down the
Basically,
field.
we're actually playing in 40K now instead of playing 40K that felt like 30K. We're like, no longer are these men gods amongst the battlefield. They do not bestride the world untouched by the mortals'
See,
weapons.
but that's what I want. I want my 10 guys to walk up the field and walk through your IG platoon and been like, dude, I'm a fucking super soldier. Like, now my guys feel more like just, frankly, they feel like an elite guardsman or what a stormtrooper used to be. Just a little bit better save, a little bit better combat. But they're not a space marine in my
I
mind.
think Terminators are still that. I think that's what
Yeah.
Terminators for. They just walk up the
Terminators
field.
blow.
I don't think they do.
They fucking blow.
You want to talk about Kill Team a bit?
I would love to talk about Kill Team.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a little sidetracked about
Kill
40K.
Team's fun.
So, yeah, Kill Team. That has been fully announced as of, I think, today.
They did the
yesterday.
full announcement,
Yeah,
I think, a
yesterday.
few days ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I read the original announcement.
Yeah, it's okay. So it is a whole new way to play. It's a brand new game. It's separate from 40K. It uses a similar rule system, and it is kind of designed to give people a kind of different level of the game to play skirmish games on a 3x2 board, which is essentially a magic table. It is fast-paced squad-on-squad combat with alternating activations, kind of like Shadespire or Necromunda. So it definitely feels like they've pulled little bits and pieces from Necromunda. They've pulled little bits and pieces from Shadespire, and they've pulled little bits and pieces from 40K. And they're like, boom, here's a new game. The thing, I guess, that I'm most excited about is they're doing actual organized play.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really big deal.
It is.
They're doing prize kits, just like they learned a lot from Shadespire, I think, because the Shadespire prize kits are pretty goddamn cool.
They are really
You
cool.
get cooler tokens, you get alternate art cards, you get like upgrades and stuff for your regular stuff that makes your basically like your starter set stuff makes it cooler.
What a change we have from a company that just a few years ago was like, we hate tournaments.
Yeah, right.
We
And
don't
now
want
they're
that
literally
play.
like,
Now they're
we
making
love
organized
tournaments.
play, yeah.
We're gonna give you the stuff to run it.
Yeah.
So
They've
yeah,
come full circle on that.
my rep today was talking about it. He said there's like special objective tokens you can get, special dice you can get,
Sweet.
special some sort of special other tokens.
And people love the tchotchkes. In
I
games.
love the tchotchkes. Yeah, right. Like I think it's gonna be really really good. So
that's why I'll spend like $20 on a set of dice and
Yeah,
$15
well,
on a little 3-inch ruler.
that was one of the cool things to me because they already announced they're going to do bespoke dice for every single faction.
Yeah.
So 16 new sets of dice coming out with basically like your faction logos.
That's
The
really
first
cool.
2 sets we get are Orcs and Space Wolves. The first 2 gangs built specifically for the game are Orcs and Space Wolves. In the starter
Yay,
set,
Ryan.
I know Ryan's like super jazzed.
I'm super smiling.
When you buy a gang, so you kind of have options. As far as I understand it, you can basically just buy the box, or you can buy the actual like kill team box.
Mhm.
When you buy the kill team box, you get extra stuff in there to use with your gang, like terrain, which I thought was
I
kind of
think
cool.
do we know what the prices are going to be on those boxes yet?
On the actual boxes, I can
Like
probably
the orc
look.
or the space?
I
Wolf
do have them. I can
Okay.
take a peek.
I was just wondering, like,
I
do
know
they
the-
start collecting, or are they even cheaper than that?
They're cheaper than start collecting.
Okay.
I want to say they're like $60 maybe or $50.
Well, it's an interesting, I think the game will be cool. I'm excited to see what the rules are.
I'm really excited for anything. So it's got campaign play.
Yeah,
This is kind of my year for campaigns.
Kyle's a campaign dude.
I
too.
love campaigns,
Yeah.
and I think they that's what they took from. The boxes are 60, by the way. I just looked.
Oh, that's not a bad price.
No, that's So for your full gang plus terrain and all the other little tchotchkes,
Yeah.
it's $60.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's basically you buy the $50 box set or whatever, or $40 box set of minis, and then you get some extra stuff in there for an extra $10-20. I love campaigns, and they
Yes.
took a lot of stuff that I really love from Necromunda. Like they took actually giving your soldiers experience, giving your soldiers permanent injuries, letting them kind of get like tricks and stuff they can upgrade and do. They took a lot of that, which I really like, and they also they did something a little bit more interesting to me than kind of what they've done in the past with some of their skirmish level games. In that they're just kind of saying like, this is your faction, you can take different things from the faction. Like starting out as an AdMac player, I can use either version of Skitarii and either version of Sicarians in any mixture or combination I want. So for me, it's a chance to kind of get some of those models that I've always loved, because if we're being honest, there's not a lot of place right now for Sicarians in the way I would build a list.
Yeah.
Like they just don't fit into what I want to do, but I love their models, and
They're great
I would
models.
love to paint them and use them.
Yeah.
So this is kind of, I feel like, my chance to paint and use those models. The same thing with like Ogrins for Guard. Like I know they're really really good in Imperial Guard, but I don't need a box of Ogrins. But I would totally use this as an excuse to get a box of Ogrins.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's that kind of stuff. I love Scions. I don't want to do an entire Imperial Guard army, but I would totally get a squad of them to play in this.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm really excited to play some Kill Team. It's going to come out at the end of July, so we'll be starting. Like it's already in our system. We're already going to start taking pre-orders on it this week. I'm pretty pumped about it. It's got
I think it's gonna be exciting.
all new buildings, and the buildings look phenomenal.
Yeah, they do.
They're super slick, and I like that they're kind of making a nicer building, because there's nothing wrong with the current 40K buildings. They just don't look as cool as all the models do now. Like you can tell they're kind of dated, so it's nice to get an update on those buildings.
And I think this is also a really good way to, like, if you were looking at 40K or thinking about getting into it, like, this is a good way to dip your foot in. Because
Oh, yeah.
it's like, same rules but different, but like there'll be some things that
It's-
carry
yeah,
over,
some
so
of the
it's
same
still
feel, but
familiar.
small scale.
Yeah.
If you're on the fence about getting into miniatures or on the fence about getting into 40K, this is definitely the way to do it.
So basically,
Get in on a
you're
small
the street
scale.
corner dealer, and this is like your first hits free. Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
Like-
Well, no, but like if you're
the
waiting,
gateway truck.
if you're hanging out waiting for X-Wing 2nd Edition, and you want something to do for the
Hint,
next
hint.
month or two, this is kind of that, right? Like if you're, I think for me, I guess
We
like
can
if
teach
you're
anybody how to
looking-
paint 5 models.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I can show anybody how to paint 5 models. If you're looking to play 40K, but you're not really sure you want to dive into the regular big game, this is that game.
Yeah,
this is where you
absolutely.
jump into
Yeah.
40K and you start kind of getting some experience under your belt and play through this smaller scale. And then when you're like, oh, okay, I like this, where you're ready, you can jump into that full army.
It's literally how I got into 40K.
Yeah,
like I
small
read
scale.
the books, and then I was like, I really want to play, but I was kind of intimidated by the grand scale
Sure,
of it.
yeah.
And then so the local store had kill teams, and I started playing
Gotcha.
some kill teams, and then slowly expanded from there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, probably like Ruins of Herald or Herald of Ruin, something like that.
It was like 7th edition kill
Yeah,
team.
it was
Or-
it was
We
it
still
was
have one of those
unofficial.
boxes on the shelf.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Remember
old
with the
7th edition
Tau
kill team.
Warriors?
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody
in,
called the
Space
store the
Marines?
other day asking if we actually had that one to buy it. Yeah. Yeah.
Sold.
Yeah, I know. So I was like,
Like-
yeah, we've got one if you want to buy it. And there was nothing wrong with that version of Kill Team. I think the catch to that version was that they didn't really support it. And
No,
that's
there
kind of
was
like the new direction.
Same thing with Shadow Wars,
Right.
unfortunately.
They didn't
Yeah.
really support Shadow War, but the new direction the GW is taking is like, they're like, we're going to put out a smaller scale game and we're going to support it. Because they already announced the next like 6 warbands for Shadespire, which I am pumped about.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, you didn't hear about the new
No.
We get Nurgle Mortals. We
Okay.
get Kharadron Overlords. We get an as unyet named Elf Warband.
Okay.
We get, a new Stormcast, the Sacrosanct Chamber
God.
Stormcast, so Stormcast 3. And the other 2, I'm having a hard time remembering. I think one of them was Slanesh something, and one of them might have been Nurgle Demons.
Stormcast, the quest for more money.
Stormcast 3, the recasting.
The recasting.
recasting.
Well, of course you're going to get new Stormcast, right? We
Yeah.
just had a whole bunch of new releases. And
And I love
Storm.
Stormcast, but sometimes they overdo it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely like, this is the army, this is the army. Like, they kind of...
Like, other than like him literally like GW being a big burly English man with a Cockney accent coming to your house and being like, "You fucking play Stormcast, mate.
Right.
What else I gotta do? Gotta bait it into you."
No, you can totally play Kharadrons. I can't even begin to tell you guys how excited I am to be disappointed by Kharadron Overlords on a brand new battlefield.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to be like, oh, here comes my men with their little pistols
And I'm
sabers.
excited to battle Kyle where it's not naked feet patterning, but little blue
Oh
feet.
man,
Like,
I love my Fire Slayers.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying the shit out of the Fire Slayers. They've been a lot of fun.
He's been on a
I
Fire Slayer
reamped my deck
yeah.
for my chosen axes, and it plays a lot better now. Like, I'm really happy with where it's going. So I'm definitely having a good time with it. And I'm looking forward, like I said, looking forward to Kill Team. Looking forward to some other stuff coming out over the next couple months. So, yeah, it's good shit.
New stuff.
New stuff.
I got D&D news.
Ooh,
There's been a
yeah.
lot of
yeah.
there's been a lot of D&D news.
So
Do you think that D&D is maybe dropping some of that news closer to like Pathfinder's news releases?
yeah,
purposefully?
like maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit.
It seems like they might have taken a page out of GW's book on that one. They're like, oh, you announced the 2nd edition of your game? Here's the 2nd edition of ours. That sound is their dick hitting the table. Like, just fucking putting their big old balls up there.
It is what
So
they do.
the one thing
Pathfinder
they
is a bowl of my nuts.
they did do a full on showing of the new covers for they're doing new covers for the 3 core books.
I
I
just
haven't
remembered
seen
that because you just rekindled that in my mind. God damn, those look good.
They look
They're
incredible.
so cool looking.
Yeah.
I will find pictures of
I
those
haven't
for you
seen
to look at. Dude, they know the way to my heart because, like, I already have all those books and I don't need a new player's handbook, but they're like, but you want a kick-ass looking player's handbook, don't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Yes,
Right.
I do. I really, really do.
A couple days ago, they're kind of doing these little cool Twitter like leaks teases. They tease Spelljammer, which I know I'm a kid of the '80s, but I don't know a whole lot about Spelljammer
I have
other than
played
it's kind
Spelljammer.
of like, okay, you can talk
I can-
intelligently about it. then.
So I wouldn't say that I'm an expert. I can break it down in a nutshell, right?
Yeah,
Okay, in Spelljammers, it's basically D&D in space.
Yeah.
Space. So you have these ships called Spelljammers, and they essentially have a magical bubble around them, and they're able to fly around in space. And as long as you're inside the bubble, you can breathe.
Sure.
Boom, Spelljammers. It's also where we get things like Mind Flayers, Githyanki, and Githzerai. They all come from Spelljammers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that. But
Yeah.
what I'm really excited about is today they teased Eberron.
Yeah, I'm way more excited about Eberron than Spelljammers.
I am an Eberron fanboy. So
Okay,
These words don't make sense to me.
I'm dipping my toes into D&D for the
Sure.
first time. Just made a character like 3 weeks ago. Wish I could play.
it will happen tomorrow. I promise.
It's fine.
Here's a little bit about Eberron. So
That's badass.
years ago, like 2002 or so, Wizards of the Coast did a fan-based contest, if you will, of campaign setting search. All you had to do is submit a one-page essay of your campaign setting. They got like thousands.
That doesn't surprise me.
Right? And this was at the height of 3rd edition, too. Well, I don't want to say the height, but 3rd edition was going strong, right? So they narrowed it down to 3 finalists who had to submit, like, I think, a pretty big, like, Bible of their campaign setting.
Okay.
And the one that won out was Keith Baker, who's from Boulder, Colorado.
Nice.
Kind of cool. Right in our backyard. With Eberron. And Eberron it's more high magic, steampunky type of D&D, of fantasy. What I really like about it is the inclusion of the kind of Cold War aspect to it. Basically, what's happened is there was a 100-year war, and 2 years ago from the book, a huge cataclysm happened. This whole country they call the Mournland now just is death. Everything died in it, and it won't decay. Everything is just like it was, right? So it kind of, everybody like freaked the fuck out and stopped the war. So we're 2 years past that, and there's all this espionage and very Russian influence type Cold War stuff
It's going to
going
be
on.
so awesome to D&D roleplay what America is now.
Sure.
It's just Russian spies everywhere.
On top of that, they've got elemental powered airships and trains.
Sweet.
And gnomes who are that's where the artificer class comes from, who are building like little bombs.
I feel like you're missing one of the other big Eberron things too.
Dragon marks.
Warforged.
That's where the Warforged race comes from.
Yeah, it's like their whole jimmy jams because they were a big part of the war too.
Yeah, they're basically constructs of what Brayland used for their army.
Oh.
They're basically combat droids.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm really excited about this.
Well, I just got learned.
It's gonna be phenomenal.
I just got learned.
I cannot find those the leaked covers other than the one.
The monster manual is
Oh.
really cool.
They suffice to say they look badass.
Yeah,
I'm
they're really
sure you
cool.
can find them. I think they're on Twitter. But
I'll look around. I have a Twitter.
I'm stoked. I guess the next one that everybody's assuming they're going to leak is Dark Sun, which I don't know a whole lot about Dark Sun.
I read the comic book when it came out. I don't know. I never got into Dark Sun.
I don't like desert. I think.
Yeah, right. Like I'm not like a fan of the desert setting either. I guess.
Yeah.
It would not be a place I would choose to adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we don't know when these are coming out. We don't. I mean, this is just like little teasers.
If I had to guess when you would release 3 brand new versions of the core books with alternate covers, I would guess.
I don't know, some convention coming up
Ooh, I don't think it's that.
or holiday.
I would go with a holiday. I would have those available to be in people's Christmas lists very soon.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's probably a November release. Looking at you, Watsy. Looking at you. I think that's pretty likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we know before that we're getting the 2 new Waterdeep books.
We're getting the Waterdeep books, first one in September,
Yep.
next one in November, and I bet you're right, the 3 core alt covers will be a Christmas thing.
Yeah, because that's kind of like how they space out their releases anyway.
And I think these new setting books, which they said they're probably going to be 3, and these are probably the 3, will be next year, 2019.
Yeah,
So-
that seems likely.
But I'm
Carry us
stoked.
into the new year. I am pumped to play some Eberron. I've always it's one of the settings I've always really wanted to play a lot in and never got to really do much with.
Mm.
And I would love to get it. I'm a huge fan of steampunk. think it's fantastic. So I would love to get in there and play.
So
play
I was just telling you guys the last couple of days, like I need to get excited about a game, and this really ignited me. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm excited about all games, basically all the time. The stiff breeze is all it takes anymore to get me going.
So let's talk movies real quick before we head into
our new movie segment.
Yeah, this is our movie segment.
How did it become a movie podcast? What is this?
How did it happen? Basically, we're just like, you know what also sucks? This. And then, like, everyone loved our trashing of a movie.
I'm going to be the trasher this week.
Of a movie.
He hasn't seen this one yet.
I haven't seen. I probably wouldn't trash it.
Which movie?
So, CJ and I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp this weekend.
I liked it. Drew did not.
I did not like it. I thought it was boring. I thought it was elementary. Very much hot potato with whatever is small at the time.
Scathing review.
I walked away, and the fucking end credit scene, that the last end one was bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't. Okay, so I haven't seen it yet, and I do plan on seeing it at some point, but it's behind Soldado for me. I always wonder, and I don't mean this, as any kind of a cut or dig, because I know you guys don't necessarily do a lot of comics. I always wonder, is there, parts of the end credit scenes that are kind of more for the comic book guys?
This isn't.
Okay, because I don't know what it is, but...
Right.
Because there's definitely been a few that are very clearly for comic book.
The mid-credit scene is for the MCU phase thing.
Sure.
The last one is bullshit.
The MCU is a little bloated right now, I feel like, but...
I can tell you what it is. It's not
spoiling
anything because it's in the commercial.
Oh, okay.
It's just the ant playing the drums.
Oh,
I didn't stay for that.
Yeah, well, consider yourself lucky.
Okay,
an ant playing the.
Yeah, it's in the trailer. The big ant is like, it's just playing a little drum thing. That's it.
Wow. Huh. That's disappointing. I didn't stay for that, so I missed that part. The mid-credit scene I thought was fine. I was
fine with that.
I know it was happening, but it kind of brought it back and reminded me and shocked me a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess I know the mid-credit scene is now.
Yeah.
All you had to do is I know it was happening, but they brought it back and it shocked me. Like, sweet. Spoiler alert incoming, guys. Who turns to dust?
So some people turn to dust.
Yeah,
there's ashes,
shocker.
And you're like, it's like, damn.
Oh.
Yeah, that is happening.
Look at that.
This connects to the timeline.
Because fucking Ant-Man's not really a superhero, so he's just kind of doing his own
thing.
thing.
The FBI agent was fucking lame. The jokes weren't that good.
So, I guess, was there sort of maybe a feeling in this of, like, kind of Guardians 2, where they're kind of trying to recapture the magic of the first one? I really enjoyed the first Ant-Man. I thought it was fun.
I didn't mind the first one. I liked... Here's what I liked about the first one.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like it.
The first one, it was small in scale, and I was fine with that. I mean, no pun intended, but right?
I think that pun was very much intended.
Yeah, the whole fight took place in a house, right? So, in comparison to all the other MCU movies, it's a very small movie, and this one, it just tries way too hard to be funny, and not the Guardian, because I didn't like Guardians 2 either, because of that same reason, that it tried so hard.
See, I really enjoyed Guardians 2. It definitely tried really hard to be Guardians 1, and like it kind of missed the mark for me a little bit, but I still thought it was really fun. Maybe I'm just a Kurt Russell fan. I don't know.
Kurt Russell's fantastic.
I
love Kurt Russell.
I liked Guardians 1 a lot better than
Guardians 1 is definitely better, but I still like Guardians 2. It is good.
I had fun with Guardians 2. Yeah. I guess for me, there weren't any specific things I really liked about the movie other than just I had fun. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining.
For Ant-Man or?
For Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Gotcha.
So
I wasn't you liked it, but it wasn't really like that. It wasn't great.
It wasn't Thor Ragnarok.
Sure. That's pretty tough to...
That's tough bar.
It's kind of the big shoes to fill right now, I feel like.
So I kind of felt like it is truly... in a way to me... So I kind of get what you're saying, Drew. Like, it almost seems like a 2-hour intro cartoon to the Avengers. Like, this is the pre-one that we're going to watch. Like, warm up the audience act. I liked
the opening band.
It's the opening band, I thought.
Ooh.
It warmed up the crowd.
Guys whose name you don't really know, and you're like, I could probably still go get a drink.
You can walk away and get a drink, and there's some moments where you're like tapping your foot. At least I was. So using some band analogies.
When was the last time you went to a concert?
I don't go to a lot of concerts. It's been a long time.
Well, you don't tap your feet at concerts?
No.
I respectfully tap my feet at many concerts.
I go to. I used to go with my mother to like old people concerts where you'd sit in an audience hall and everyone's sitting and no one stands and they play and occasionally you clap. I'm like that was.
So this leads us to our topic of the day, Frontier Days.
Oh, God.
Yes, Frontier
coming.
Days.
And lots of music and lots of cowboys and
Well, at
lots
least
of
what people call music, or some people call it.
cows. Yeah,
Already got
Nickelback.
my-
Nickelback is coming.
Already got my
and that's
Nickelback
not-
tickets. My
Did
brother
you
and I.
really?
I love Nickelback.
I
They're
do
my
too.
favorite bands.
Damn it. You
I-
love Nickelback too?
I do, man.
Yeah.
These fucking mutants.
Fucking Bottoms Up is on my Lyft playlist right now.
What?
Yeah.
That's not what.
Yesterday. Yeah, look at this.
Look
Look at this
that
photograph.
photograph.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's coming.
Jesus
Ugh.
Christ.
Bruh.
I'm looking for a gun right now.
I-
You polish it with my tongue.
I have all the Nickelback albums on my phone right now.
Oh, my
Ah!
I love Nickelback.
There's
Oh,
just
I
something
like
about that
Nickelback.
generic kind of shitty
They're
Canadian
America's rock band.
You know what I
They're
love?
not America's rock, but
They
they're
are.
Canadians.
We're talking about Cheyenne
They-
Frontier Days,
they
which is the
popular
biggest
American.
outdoor rodeo in the world,
It is.
and we're talking about the rock band that's coming.
Yeah.
yeah,
That
but that's
makes
kind of like
me
what
laugh.
normal people like about it, right? Like,
Yeah.
And this
that
is
makes
going to
me
hurt Drew's,
They're like
GM
super
Drew's soul, but I
generic.
really love Florida Georgia Line.
What?
yeah, that's how I feel when you say you love Nickelback. Do you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, how's
Feel
that
the
feel?
pain.
Yum. Yum.
Like, Florida Georgia
They're
Line
so-
is the country I listen to now.
Nickelback's like so generic. They're
Ugh.
like,
Sorry.
let's put a riff and then like some white guy kind of grungy singing,
Yeah, right.
and they're like,
But I was also,
I just read a Nickelback song right the fuck there, dude.
but I was also a big Creed fan, so
Ugh, Creed too.
yeah.
I hate
Can
Creed
you
too.
take me?
It's the
higher?
same formula. They're
Yeah,
like,
it is.
I know, I love that music.
That's it.
It's so
It's like-
terrible.
Grunt
We
into a
could-
microphone.
Ryan and I could be any band in the vein of Nickelback or Creed tomorrow.
If you produce the same songs, I'll buy your album.
I bet you would. Oh God! There's a special brand of white people that
You
would
just, hit
definitely.
the,
love our
you just
music.
hit the 4 basic chords and grunt
Yeah,
to a
right?
microphone
Like-
and win.
Yeah, it's
Start printing money now.
It's like that post '90s pop rock dog shit. Oh God.
So, Frontier Days.
Yes.
So,
Frontier Days.
just a little introduction to the listeners that are not from Cheyenne, Wyoming. We have a rodeo here every year.
Called the granddaddy of them all.
It's the last full week of July. It's
but it feels like a
it's-
full month.
sure fuck does.
It's like 10 days.
It's
Really?
10
Because they do
days.
the weekend before and the weekend after.
And the rodeo starts
Fuck me.
and goes for
God.
all 10 days.
So
Yeah.
full disclosure, this is my very first ever Frontier Days or rodeo
We're,
or anything.
We're
I
popping
live
Ryan's rodeo cherry.
So they have the rodeo during the day. At night they have Frontier Nights. They'll have concerts and
We should get tickets as
there's
a
a
group and
full
go
on.
see like one of the like really brutal bull ones and get people's faces stomped in, and then we'll.
Oh, I really
Do a
thought you were going to
podcast
say
about
one of
it.
the concerts, and I was like, no. There's not a single one that I would go to.
I want to go to two.
I
I
will
got
say this,
backstage
like, I
Nickelback
admit-
passes for you too.
Oh,
I admit it.
You would
they-
enjoy Eric Church.
So
okay. Let
You
me
would.
put it that. I do like Eric Church.
Yeah.
I'm not a big. I like a little bit of everything. I do like a little bit of country. I like a little bit of everything. I do like Eric Church. He's probably the only one I would go see.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, I like Eric Church, but I don't know that I like Eric Church enough to watch an entire set.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because there's the songs that he does that I would enjoy,
Right.
and then there's like the B-sides that he's doing.
Sure.
That he probably enjoys, but I don't think I would.
Sure. I've seen him twice,
Yeah.
and he does a lot of cool shit. In his
I have
show.
no
You would
doubt that
enjoy
he's a
it.
talented performer.
Yeah.
Let me put it that way.
So for the concerts,
And I'm
I got-
sure
Oh,
Florida
go ahead.
Georgia Line are talented too.
Yeah.
They're
Fuck
just
them.
not my.
No, they're
I know
not.
they're sure.
No, they're not.
They're not my. They're not my flavor.
No, they're
so
not.
like I got a mailer a couple months ago to my house. They're like, get your tickets now for the concerts, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't want to see any of this. Like, that's
You know what?
why.
I think it's a big moneymaker here.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
no, I
yeah.
totally understand. Like for me, like I'll listen to some country, but like older country, like
I
it's.
will-
But I can tell you, for
I don't
someone
like-
who's. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
No, go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say I don't like stadium country
Yeah.
at all, and like that's mostly what they pander to because that's what brings in the most.
Yeah, young people.
Yeah,
I
brings
feel
in
like it is the one time a year we do get big name acts.
It
in
is.
Cheyenne, though.
butts and seats,
Hopefully that
I
will
guess.
change with the new Paramount project at Lincoln Theater thing.
Not only that, but also
I hope that will change.
the Archer
Yeah.
Event Center that's coming as well.
Oh yeah, no, that would be nice. It would be really cool if we got a little bit more because the Civic Center tries, right? But I feel like they don't have I don't know what it is. They don't have enough space or whatever.
Or the
They can't
poles.
really land the big acts.
Yeah, fucking seats. Nobody wants to go to a big
Yeah,
rock
that's-
concert and sit down and...
Yeah, that's fair. I generally
See, I don't go to a rock concert and stand. I just won't do it.
Sure.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
You're going to Nickelback and you're going to sit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
You're just gonna go to
It's
Nickelback?
Nickelback.
That's why I said I tapped my foot. That's how you know it's racy. Maybe I'm clapping. A little bit,
It's
too.
racy?
Yeah, some tense music. So I'm starting to get a little sweaty for thinking about it.
So anyway,
So-
we've got
You
parades.
do
Special
not,
kind of
do
hell.
not listen to what I listen to at the gym.
Like
Like,
just
just
at the gym.
stuff you like murdered swabs
Sepultura
of
and Cannibal
It's a
Corpse.
lot of them on them.
I don't listen to Cannibal Corpse. They're a little too much for me. But like Devil Driver, that's definitely a band I listen to while lifting weights. It's stuff where like swaths of people are.
I'm
getting
going to
cut
admit
down.
I
something
keep
that's
hoping
on my
one day we're going to
playlist.
get
What?
Katy Perry or Taylor Swift, but
This is hilarious.
I'm shocked we haven't gotten T-Swizzy.
I am surprised we haven't
What?
got T Swift.
So this is something hilarious that's on my, not only is Nickelback, but I threw the fucking Top Gun Kenny Loggins songs on my fucking running
Yeah.
list. Dude, it
You know
works.
what? If there's one song that Ryan really loves, it's the Kenny Loggins Danger Zone. dude.
No, I like
But
the
basically
song.
anything from the Top Gun soundtrack.
I said I liked the songs. I never said I liked.
What about like Take My Breath Away?
that? Listen, that's our theme song, baby.
I know,
But no, like
actually, I always thought our theme song was "You've Lost That Loving Feeling," but that's, I mean, you do you. That's fine.
okay.
Shit
But
on
no,
my
like
dreams.
I like the songs. They're good, solid songs. But the movie has been rammed down my throat way too much, and it's like one of those things where they're like, "You want to see Top
Overkill.
Gun?" And like I have like just flashbacks of PTSD where I'm like, "No, no, no more half-naked dudes playing volleyball, please, no."
So also Frontier Days, we've got like 4 days of
We
parades.
do
We have
early morning pancake breakfast.
yeah, they feed like thousands of
I was
people,
inverted.
Yeah.
Yes.
and we're watching Top Gun now.
Because I was inverted. Now sleep with me, Meg Ryan.
Bullshit.
Sorry. We happened to see a MiG-28 do a 4G negative dive.
I think they can hear this too.
Oh, I'm sure they can. Yeah.
It's
That's classified. It's what?
It's classified.
It's classified.
I was
I could tell you.
inverted.
I can tell you, but then I'd have to
Kill
kill you.
you.
Yeah, okay.
I have top secret clearance.
Ugh.
The Pentagon seized
Do you
my
love Val
driver
Kilmer's
license.
hair?
I do. Actually.
You're gonna go see part 2.
This was one of the last movies Val Kilmer was.
Well, part
attracted
2,
in.
break a hip doing a turn.
Exactly where
He's gonna basically be Tom Skerritt.
Yeah.
Well, leaving this because
Val Kilmer now looks like
Yeah.
looks like someone took Val Kilmer from the 80s and 90s and fucking stuck a bike pump up his ass and just kept pumping. He's
He
all
does-
like swollen and
He
bloated.
does look like a bloated.
He's
bloated,
weird looking.
Like he's a pod.
You know
person,
who
but
I
bloated.
want to come back and see in more movies? Gary Busey. Like
Very
crazy
scary Gary
Dude,
Busey. He's all like,
he's like, will I murder you?
I don't
that guy's
know.
a fucking actual.
He doesn't know
psychopath.
from moment to moment.
So, but I will.
Wait, what are we talking about again? Sorry.
Frontier Days.
We're about to go to
Oh,
last
yeah.
word.
Wait.
Something I'd recommend in Frontier Days if you've never. I guess everybody. Do you have something you like about Ryan doesn't, but because he hasn't done it, something you like about Frontier Days that you'd recommend to somebody who hasn't done it before?
I like when it's over.
That doesn't count.
Honestly, I've been in a band for the last 5 years playing Frontier Days. I think 2 years ago we did 11 shows in 10 days.
Damn.
Last year we did 9. This year I'm not in the band currently, so I don't know.
Notice you said currently.
Right?
Are you going back?
I don't know. We'll see someday.
He's toying with
Not
the idea,
anytime
folks.
soon.
Gross.
So I don't know. I think I'm not, unless tickets come my way, I'm probably going to avoid all of it this year.
Here's what I like about the Frontier Days, and I say this unabashedly and unsarcastically. I like the pancake breakfast.
Yeah.
It's about one of the only things during Frontier Days that I would get up early for because it's a fun spectacle, and you know it's free good pancakes, right? Like you can't say no to that. Pancakes is the best breakfast. So
Yeah.
it's a good time.
Cake.
It is cake and for breakfast.
For
Like, that's
breakfast.
as good as it possibly can get.
So
It's a good time, and if you've never been, it's one of the few Frontier Days experiences that you don't have to be into country stuff to like.
Yes.
True.
You can just enjoy a good.
Even though they have a
old-fashioned
country
breakfast.
band there that
They
morning.
do, yeah. They have a country band there. You can't escape the country aspect to Frontier Days. That's for sure.
That's part of it,
But yeah, no, that's certainly a part of it. It's worth. I would say this. It's worth doing Frontier Days if you've never done it. It's worth doing some of it. You know, like go to a rodeo, go to the pancake breakfast. You know, do a couple of those things just so you can say you've done it, and then pick
But
and
I
choose what you like
can't.
from there. Why not?
I can't go to pancake breakfast because I can't eat pancakes right now.
Just don't eat the pancakes. Just
They have
eat the
ham.
sausage and ham.
Oh, they have sausage and ham?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll
they're
just
gonna give you,
walk
like-
up and be like, I need a pound of ham.
Yeah, right. They're only going to give you like 2 links of sausage and like a cut of ham.
Oh.
It's not going to be like
That makes
they
no
don't.
sense for me. My
They
bread-
don't give you a lot, right? Like when I say
Sure.
pancake breakfast, it's a couple of small pancakes, right? Like they're not giving you like
It's
a
not
big
designed to
stack
feed
of
you all day,
pancakes.
yeah.
Right? Like it's not your. This isn't your like one and done meal. Like
Like-
it's for the experience. That's why you're going.
Oh, okay.
The-
'Cause, like-
Hot coffee. And,
I don't
it's good.
drink coffee, though.
Like, they've got milk and I'm sure juice.
I can't have milk or juice.
well, then
they've got.
just
I'm
don't
allowed
go.
I'm
water.
sure they have water.
Well, then go to a parade.
They have parades?
There's like 4 parades.
Oh, you'll see.
Are they?
They go right in
like,
front of our
hold
store.
on, like what are the parade? Like they're like this one's
Like
about
everything.
bowls.
No,
Like,
Well,
this
so
one's
it's the same
about-
parade 4
It's
times.
the same parade all four times.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's-
Like that's what I was curious. I was like, usually
Floats,
parades are
wagons.
Yeah, right. So it's floats, wagons,
Military
like,
stuff, fire trucks.
Yeah, right. Like Effie Warren will
horses.
send out a flight of guys to march in the parade. They'll have a band. All the high school bands will be in it.
Yeah.
Lots of
They
horses.
bring out all the wagons from
Yep.
the museums.
Yeah, all the wagons come out. It's a lot of stuff like
It's a lot of
that.
stuff. It lasts like an hour and a half. It's a long parade.
Okay.
It is.
So
lengthy
I
as
guess
shit.
I'm the positive one about Frontier Days because I have a couple of recommendations. So first off, I love Frontier Days. I love it. Yeah, I know everyone.
I'm gonna
Smile
need
on your
CJ
face.
to teach me. What
I'll teach you the.
But I'm
the
not
stuff
going to
without
Nickelback.
being
I will not compromise my religion.
No, that's fine. I don't expect you to. But it's a celebration of the West. It's a celebration of Wyoming culture, and I love that because in Cheyenne we get a bit Colorado-fied sometimes for my taste, and it kind of brings you
a
back
bit
to
Colorado-fied.
it brings you back to
Colorado does
Wyoming
bleed
is
over
the
into
cowboy
Cheyenne a
state.
lot.
What is
it's,
Colorado fight? It's coming from someone from Colorado. I have no idea.
I think he's something that CJ just made up.
I
Oh.
did just make up that word, but
What is
it to
I think
me,
he's referring to
it's-
a lot of Colorado culture and folks bleeding over into Cheyenne.
this is-
Oh,
And
okay.
southern Wyoming.
Kyle
in
gets it.
general.
like it's like the joke growing up in Rollins was it's spring because the license plates turn green. They're all They're all-
okay.
they're all coming
I
up
dig
to
it.
our hunting grounds, fishing grounds, things like
See,
that.
I've never.
That's
But-
also a joke in Cheyenne and the rest of southern Wyoming.
Yeah.
by the way.
I didn't
And
know.
damn Greenie's a Colorado
Gotcha.
person. And
Well, I have
like-
a Wyoming plate. so-
you're good now.
I'm
You're
not a
Wyomingite.
native. I don't judge you. I mean,
That's true.
I've been
I
here.
keep forgetting you're not a native.
I've been
'cause,
here
like,
a really long time, but I don't. I mean,
You're basically a native now.
They're
Sure.
like how native by proxy.
But
I've been
here's the thing.
assimilated.
and
I'm-
like a Borg.
I'll lead us into last word, Drew, because I'm just going to make this my last word.
Sure.
That is that I've done a lot of. I'm not going to talk about politics, but I've done a lot of campaigning and work in politics. And there's a perception in the rest of the state that Cheyenne is not real Wyoming. That it's kind of forgotten what it is to be Wyoming. That it doesn't have that connection anymore because it's been Colorado-fied. Like it's just chain restaurants and people, Air Force folks, and nothing against Air Force folks. They're wonderful, but a lot of them I've met. They'll come in and they never go north of the Vandehei exit or like west of Lincoln Way, and so they never see the rest of the
Yeah.
state.
Yeah,
Every-
that's pretty true.
That's pretty true. Rare are the ones that are like, I'm going to go see the rest of the state. And frankly, Cheyenne is the ugliest part of the state. Like,
That is the
as far as the
unfortunate
land
truth
wise,
is-
yeah,
is
the
South,
north is far prettier.
southeastern Wyoming is just not very.
It's not very pretty.
It's just grass.
It's compared to the north or even the deserts you hit going west to
yeah,
Utah.
Yeah, no, it's basically the rest of the state is really actually
Yeah.
very pretty. This is the not pretty.
This is the
part.
we
It's
could be
pretty
in Kansas or
disappointing.
Nebraska, basically.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know the difference. But essentially,
How's your farm going?
I do
Pretty
hate driving
good.
through it, too. But essentially, Frontier Days is that small bit of Wyoming culture that for those 10 days comes to Cheyenne and kind of relives that Western culture. And I like that. The other thing, the Thunderbird show is awesome. With
Oh
the
yeah,
Air Force
Thunderbird. I always forget
Yeah.
the Thunderbirds come out every year.
It happens on the Wednesday, which is Cheyenne Day. Government closes. I know that excites Drew because we get out at noon.
Yes.
So
That is
government
cool.
closes at
Coincidentally,
noon.
The shop also closes at 2 p.m. on Cheyenne.
Yes,
Day,
there'll be
because
no
basically
D&D
all
that
of
day.
shut down. All of Cheyenne downtown shuts down.
Yes. So which is a week from tomorrow.
Fuck, is it?
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
Really, Cheyenne Day's a week from tomorrow.
No,
No,
it's
it's
2
weeks.
weeks.
2
weeks from
weeks from
tomorrow.
tomorrow. 2 weeks from tomorrow.
I was about to freak out. I was like, where did July go?
Yeah.
Like,
By the
over.
way, if you haven't experienced Cheyenne Day in the downtown area,
It is
it's
a-
basically just a rip shit riot, everyone get drunk fest.
It is.
So if
It
you'd
starts
like,
off with the Thunderbirds and a pancake breakfast. And then everyone kind of calls it a day at noon, and then you just go drinking and walk in the downtown.
So-
if you would like to get shitty drunk with me,
He's
I
the
will
guy
be
to find.
downtown,
They-
probably at Accomplice and/or Daniel Marks all
They
day.
do the big concerts. Are also usually happen on Wednesday night on Cheyenne Day. A lot of times, like some of the bigger name bands. But also, one small thing I'd mention for Frontier Days, the first weekend of it. So before the first full week of July, they do FE Warren Days. If you have any interest in military stuff, you get to go down and see a silo, like the full training silo with the missile. You can watch a full mock launch of a missile. If you're super nerdy that way, they do like a full like World War II reenactment camp. They've got like cavalry folks that set up. And they have open access to get to the base. Like, you have to ride your little shuttle in, but basically you can do that. So, oh, one last thing. It's a double
Last word ever.
I told you I wrapped it into the conversation, so it doesn't count. In fact, I'm rescinding that, Drew. That wasn't my last word. This is my last word.
Uh-huh.
The Rickmobile is here Saturday for
We'll
Rick
all
and
be
Morty.
doing tournament shit all day.
We're going to have a half-hour Rick break. I've already decided.
Half-hour Rick break.
Yes! I'm not going to not go down and get a picture with the Rickmobile with 2 blocks from us.
You realize it's just like an Oscar Mayer Wiener mobile that you just painted Rick on.
This
right?
is my care face. I don't care.
This is my give a fuck face.
I want to go get a
okay.
picture with the Rickmobile and get
It's going
myself
to be at Daniel Marks, right?
no, it's at Accomplice.
Accomplice? Ah,
From 2
yeah,
to
we can do
5
that. We can do
on
that.
Saturday. So we'll take a half-hour Rick and Morty break, and you can go down there and get yourself a Rick t-shirt, and they actually have the tour up all over their website of the cities they're hitting, doing different Rick tours. It's pretty fantastic.
It's a good last word.
You're welcome. It's what I do. Grand Moff CJ.
Signing off.
Signing off. Good night, citizens.
Do you have one, sir?
Yeah. Don't eat brisket before you go lifting.
Okay.
Don't do
That
it.
is possibly the most succinct last word
Yeah.
we've ever had on the show.
What do you mean?
I
I don't know the meaning of that word. Like, I'm a big dumb meathead.
Quick.
Oh, quick. Okay.
Thank you.
Don't. Thank you. I know, Kyle.
No,
you got to
no.
bring out your $5 words, and
I don't think succinct is a $5 word.
For me, it is.
Well,
I'm just
Ostensibly, it is.
ostensibly, it would be a $5 word if you're.
Yeah, don't eat brisket before you go work out.
Okay.
That's pro tip.
Does it make you shit your pants?
Yeah. I almost had a Code Brown deadlifting.
Oh, Cove Brown, huh?
Yeah. We call it like don't break the first rule of lifting, stuff like that. If you
Sure.
break the first rule of lifting, you basically shit on the platform, and it's not good.
Yeah.
Because everyone lifting after you is going to hate you.
Yeah.
You just don't do it.
I hope you have.
I
like,
try not to shit on things that aren't toilets.
I hope you have like your
Me
own
too. Me
noob
too.
noob at the gym that you give the mop to, like noob noob.
God damn.
God damn.
Yeah.
What do you got, Kyle?
I'm the weakest one, so I'm the noob noob.
You're the noob.
Are we running up on time? I have an interesting last word. Somebody in my life who's very close to me, I won't name any names, suggested that I bring my own straw to places because apparently straws are really bad for the environment. And this someone, and I'm not naming any names, who's very close to me, suggested
Does
that
she listen to this?
if it were a she, and the she that you were implying sometimes, but I'm not saying that it is that particular she. But that this person implied that lots of people do it and it would be totally normal. To which I said, nope, that's fucking psychopath murderer shit. I was like, if I ever go to a restaurant, someone like opens up a case and pulls out their own straw, I'm like, that is a fucking serial killer right there. Like, that's how you know. If you're ever like, gee, I wonder if there's any serial killers here. Just look around for who brings their own fucking straw to a restaurant. That's fucking creepy. Weird.
Or like their own
Serial
silverware.
killer.
So
Yeah.
like they have their own
Oh,
silverware
you are
set.
a fucking murderer. You wear people for a coat. If you bring your own straw and silverware to a restaurant. Like, don't you tell me it's about the environment. You're a serial killer. All right? That's my last word.
How do I
You
top that?
You don't. I'm
Like,
sorry you made
the
me go
straw
before
thing
you.
makes no sense to me. So just drink it. It's a cup. It's fully functional. Like
I prefer straws.
All right, I'm not going to go into that because I'm pretty sure you have an oral fixation, sir.
Okay, I got one.
As a former smoker, I can tell you I definitely have an oral fixation.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this. Probably
I just
no one
didn't
else
wanna
is,
get down
but
the rabbit
I
hole.
got my Gen Con badge and tickets in the mail
Oh, no, I'm pumped about that.
this week. You right? So
That is cool.
here's a tip for Gen Con people if you are going to go ever. Pay the extra $10 to have them mail your tickets and your badge to you. Because if you don't, you'll be standing in a line for at least 2 hours
Yeah.
to get your badge and your
That
ticket.
does sound.
So
That sounds awful.
$10.
There's no. It's the same reason I buy a fast pass at Comic Con. There's no reason why I want to spend any more time in my life waiting in a fucking line for something.
Yep.
Like you're literally every minute you spend waiting in a line at a con is a minute you lose doing something cool.
Yep,
I fucking
exactly.
hate
$10.
lines.
That's all it took. So anyway, that's my last
No,
word.
that's
On top of it,
definitely
That's-
worth it.
Where's Gen Con?
Gen Con is in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay. So it's gonna
No
be
other
like hot
reason to
sun.
ever go there. Oh yeah,
So
Well,
waiting in a hot
the line
sun.
It'll be
is the
inside.
line is inside.
Oh, the line's inside?
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a con for nerds. I mean, they know their market.
They
They're
would
not gonna
literally
make it-
lose like a quarter of their customer
Yeah, right,
base if
like,
it was outside,
People
like
fucking
dying.
passing out and shit, and, like succumbing to the elements.
Like that guy at Adepticon one year who
guess-
got drunk and passed out in the Horus Heresy tournament.
That was like 2 years ago. We
Yeah, it
were
was like
there.
2 years ago.
He got
He,
like blackout drunk, started vomiting all over the table, then passed out.
Yeah,
They had to open the bay door in that part of the con hall and fucking drive the ambulance in to get this guy.
Wow.
So somebody vomited on
And
my
that
lawn.
was
Spoiler
like-
alert, he was a big fella.
that was like 11 a.m. If you were
Oh,
passing
dude.
out from alcohol at 11 a.m. at a con,
Yeah,
But you're
had
at
to-
Vegas.
If you go to a con,
No, this was
no, this is in
Chicago.
Chicago.
Oh,
Yeah.
If they just serve
I thought
alcohol
you
at
said
11 a.m.
LVO.
Yeah.
No, it's the Adepticon.
This is
Oh.
Adepticon.
If you were at a con, whether it's Gen Con or something in Vegas, like Stelvio or Adepticon in Chicago, it doesn't matter what
Also,
it
think of
is.
the amount of money it took to get him
Comic
drunk.
Cons, yeah, you never know. He might have brought his own
He might have
bottle.
brought his own bottle. Yeah.
If you're at a con, you're still a goddamn adult and you're still in polite society, all right? Just being at a con is not an excuse to like fucking start shitting in the top tank of the toilet and getting fucking loaded drunk at 10, 11 a.m., all right? Act like a goddamn human and wait till noon
I
like the
think
rest
some
of
of
us.
these Some of these guys,
Tear off
they're
your
like
shirts.
Yeah, right.
They're like
Martial
an-
law.
they're like an accountant that gets away from their family
It
for a
is,
weekend
totally.
and go
It's-
fucking nuts.
It's totally that guy. It's like somebody who like I'm a CPA. I have 4 kids. My wife doesn't like ever sleep with me, and they get out there to like Minnie's Toyland, and they're just like getting rip shit riot drunk. Yeah, they're like, I'm gonna get loaded, more schnapps. But like, it's not a good idea, dude. Just
There's a
be
guy.
depressed like the rest of us and move on.
There's a guy who comes to a lot of cons. He used to come to a lot. He still comes to some. I don't see him as often. And he's a architect and engineer in Florida for a big firm, and he wears
Sure.
suits all the time. But when he gets to cons, he like goes back to being like 17 emo kid, and he puts on like the long shorts that are baggy with the chains, and he wears a dog collar and spikes his hair, and
Sure.
you're just like, what the hell, Steve?
Whatever. Ugh. All right. That's episode 20.
That's episode
In
20.
the books.
That's a wrap.
Thanks, everybody.
All
We'll
right.
see ya.
Love you. Bye.
Farewell.